Shannon, should we give him a couple more minutes, or do you want to get her going?
Majtada.
Is everybody good if we get started right now? All right. Bonjour. Nin memashko igabo. Bonjour nindote nikusminikani nindonji. And I consider myself an Ojibwe language learner. I wasn't born with the language. I didn't grow up with the language. I'm 19 years old, decided that I wanted to learn, and if I was serious about it, I would have to do it on my own. So I just took it upon myself to want to learn, and I think that's really the thing that helps. One thing that helped me big time though was putting tobacco out, just asking for help with the language. Things will come to you, people will talk to you. You can do a little ceremony too if you'd like to, using yellow tobacco ties and giving a gift to the birch tree, and asking the sun for help, which is the Jesus, which is yellow. So that yellow seems to be associated with language. Also a ginjibagoisi, which is goldfinch, a bird, one of the keepers of the language. So doing those kind of protocols seem to help immensely, actually, and that's kind of what helped me to help me to understand the language and kind of get a grasp of it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show an audio clip of my grandma speaking Ojibwe. And what tends to happen is I'll show like a student or somebody that's learning language this audio clip, and it's about 2 minutes long. So after about 10 seconds, I see them kind of tune out, kind of get that glaze over their eyes, and it's because they can't understand. So what I did was I broke it down into different sections. I use this program called Audacity, and I broke the 2 minutes down into maybe 7 or 8 seconds, where she's saying sentence by sentence, and that's kind of what we're going to do today. And we're just going to go through some of them and listen to them, try to put them in order, and that's pretty much it. We're just going to put them in order. But at the same time, I know that a lot of people might have questions, and that's what this session is about. So, we're all at different levels of learning. Some people are, fluent speakers that come on here, but they don't know how they know, if that makes sense. How do I know how to put that sentence together? That's just the way you do it. So some of them come in for that. Other people come in because they're beginner learners like myself. So they want to understand how these sentences get thrown together. So we're all at different levels. So this tool is just to help. And there's a lot of different ways you can use it. The way I'm doing it today is not the way that you have to use it. If you want to use it, use it. But just kind of look at it too and take different parts from there and get some ideas on how to do some lessons on there. There's the preverbs in here. If you want to do a session on preverbs, you could kind of train yourself too to show yourself how they work. So there's a lot of things in here that are good. Any questions before we get going? All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to make sure everybody can see what I'm doing. And it's kind of really informal here too. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know, or I can stop, and we can just kind of take some questions out there. All right, here we go. So this one is about the first snowfall. I can't remember if we've touched on this one before. I've done a couple sessions with some NSL teachers before too, so we've kind of flip-flopped and used this one in the Rainier Train Bridge. But this one I wanted to use because it's the elder speaking Ojibwe, and she's talking about the first snowfall. So when the snow falls down, something that she was taught when she was a kid. She was raised by her grandmother. So I'm just going to play the audio, and we're just going to put the sentences in order. All right, so
How I even know young at the Shinda.
I can minimize this. All right, so the first one I heard was a how.
How I even know young at the Shinda.
So if I heard that one, a how. What's the next one?
How I even know young at the Shinda.
E, Inga, Dajandan, I think.
How I even know young at the Shinda.
Oh, missed a word. So that's kind of the order I got it. I heard her say ahau, I heard her say ayai, I heard her say manoaya, ninga, and then dajandan. So just double check.
How I even know young at the Shinda.
So there were some things added to it. So I'm just going to look at what's added to it. And right off the bat, I see the nin was added to it. And she says dajandan. So at the bottom, I've got the words that you might find in a dictionary. I got this from the Ojibwe People's Dictionary. And these are the words that are in there. And if you look up at the top, you'll notice that some of them aren't exactly the same. How is the first one? Dajandan has one A at the end. There's no nin, which nin is right here. And that's because she's making a sentence. So the first thing I know is ahau. So that was the word that's in the Ojibwe dictionary, and that's kind of how a lot of people say it. But sometimes when you're speaking with people in real time, you kind of shorten it. You say ahau, and that's kind of for a couple of reasons. You know, people are just excited to get going, and they just kind of speak a little quick, and they're like ahau, like really quick. But if you ask them to say it slower, they might say ahau. So that's where that one changed. The next one was ninga. So right away, I know something's going to happen here because there's things added to this word. First thing I notice is nin is at the beginning and aan is at the end. So I look at the verb, and I think we've kind of, you guys must have done a session on VTIs, but this means to talk about it. It could mean to gossip about it, but it kind of means to talk about it. And this is the word before anything's added to it. So right when she puts an A at the end and then nin at the front, I know that it means I do something to it. I do something to it. And what is it? It's I'm going to talk about it. And then minoya is like this good or this good thing. She's talking about, you know, a thing. This means thing. Ayai is a thing. And then minoya is a good thing. And it's alive. So literally she's saying, okay, there's this good thing that I want to talk about, that I'm going to talk about. So ninga, preverb ga means it's going to happen in the future. So I am going to talk about it. And right underneath, I've just got kind of a translation. Okay, this good thing I will talk about. That's kind of what she's saying. One problem I have is when I'm translating is like you get all those words in there, and then how do you translate that into English? You're saying, okay, a thing, a good thing, I will talk about it. But when you say it like that, okay, a good thing, I'm going to talk about it. Kind of doesn't sound right. So, but if you translate it to something else like, all right, there's this good thing that I want to talk about. It sounds a little bit better that way. So I kind of struggle with, do I use the literal translation or do I use the implied translation? So that's another avenue too. There's two translations. There's actually there's three translations. The first one is the literal translation, and we just kind of did that. It says, okay, a thing that's good, I will talk about it. That's the literal translation. The implied one is like, all right, there's this good thing that I want to talk about. So she didn't say all right. She didn't say there is, but you kind of understand what she's implying. She's implying that there's this good thing that I want to share. I want to talk about. The third one, there's also a cultural translation. And that kind of comes into play when we're talking about people who've been to ceremonies and things like that. They might see it a little bit different. But it's kind of the same as the implied translation. But sometimes you have words that have more meaning inside of them. You know, an example of that would be Minnow Bemadizuin. So when I translate that word, Minnow means good, Bemadize means he or she is living, and then win turns it into a noun or an object. So when we literally translate it, it means the good life. And the cultural translation is a little bit different because when you say Minnow Bemadizuin to an elder and you ask them to translate it, they'll have a lot of translations for it. You know, it means going out and helping people. It could also mean going out and doing things for people, leading a good life, being the example, you know, talking about talking the talk and walking the walk. So if you talk about being a respectful person and being kind to animals and all creation, now you have to do that. And that's kind of what, you know, Bemadizuin means, is you're trying to do that too. So there's it can really mean a lot more than just a good life. So there's a lot of interpretations about it, and all of them are correct. So just so people know that that's in there. There was a chat here. This looked English equivalent, yeah. So that's what I mean about translations being a little bit different. So in this one, she's just kind of talking about, all right, there's this good thing I want to talk about. And this was a teaching I was doing to her from her grandmother. Any questions before we get on to the next one? Next slide. I sent this to Shannon and Carissa. So if you guys want a copy of it, maybe you guys can forward it to them, Shannon or Carissa. All right. So this next one, and we'll try and put them in order. So I heard away, the first one. Next one I heard was gi. Oh, she said gi. Double check. And then I heard there's one missing down here. Play it again. Yeah, where was that away on there? There it is. Hide. And then I heard gi. Egg. So I'm just going to double check, make sure those words are in order. All right, looks good to me. So those are the words you'll find in the dictionary, and then after that I will look at the sentence and I'll see what's added. I know that this part right here, the yawn is added. The bun, no koi bun, is added. Nin, ig. So just to go through some of those, away means this, gi means in the past. Banochi we, he or she is being a child. Yawn means me. So in the past, when I was a child, Noko is my grandma. And just so people know, like another word for that is nokomis. We use that one around here, nokomis. But when you use noko, that means she's your biological grandma or somebody that was really close to you. In this case, she was really close to her because she was raised by her grandma. So it's kind of like instead of calling someone a mother, you call them mama or mom. So you know that's that little kinship there where you're a little closer to them. So that's why this one is used, no ko. And then the bun, anytime you add ibun or bun at the end of a noun, it means that it's passed on or it's in the spirit world. So her grandma who was in the spirit world. So and then she goes on to talk about nin gi nitawa ig. So I know that when you add ni and then ig to a VTA, it means I do something to, or he or she does something to me. So in this case, it's a raise. So she raised me, and he is in the past. So she raised me in the past. So I'm looking at this translation. She says, okay, this thing, when I was a child, my grandma, who's in the spirit world, she did this thing. The thing is, she was the one who raised me. So trying to translate that, knowing all of those words, you come up with, this was when I was a child, my grandma, who's in the spirit world, I was raised by her or she raised me. So that's kind of the translation. She was the one who raised me. Any questions on this one before we go to the next one?
Ningi is talking about yourself in the past.
Yeah, usually it is, but on a VTA, if you have a VTA chart, it'll say third person to me. So third person, him or her, does the action to me. And that's why this ig is on there. With each verb, they've got their own set of rules. So when you're thinking of VAI verbs, because I kind of think that's where you're going with this. Maybe you're used to using ningi, I don't know, manindam. Let's say gushindam. So I was sad. And I think that's kind of what you were looking at on there when you were saying ningi. And it works perfectly with VAIs, but in this case, there's rules for VTAs. So they follow their own little pattern. That used to throw me off too. Like you said, min, well, that means me. But now that we're with VTAs, remember that just I am in the sentence whenever you hear min on there. So I don't know if someone's doing the action to me or I am doing the action to them. You got to listen to the sentence a little bit more and look at the endings on there. So there's a VTA chart. Any more questions? All right, so far we've gone story where she says, okay, there's this good thing I want to talk about. When I was a child, my grandma was in the spirit world. I was raised by her. And on to number 3. Let me just share my screen again. I was trying to look at the chat. Yeah. So Shannon or Chris, if there's a chat in there that involves the question, just let me know. I'll keep going on this. Number 3. So if anyone wants to chime in and let me know which order these go in.
Midasha Aya.
Yeah, I heard Midash in there as the first one. Let me just give you this guy.
Shiva-way in there?
Yeah, I hear it.
There? Oh, there it is.
Hold on the screen here. Dash away. Key. After that. Yeah. And then I had gi degwa gig again. All right. So let me just show you guys how that looks. Oh, it's not showing you. All right. So mi dash was the first one. Away, gi aya, gi degwa gig. So the things that are added are actually just the what do you call it? The ending on degwa gig. Degwa gig. So it's just the letter G on there.
Jason, is that an irregular change on Degwagan?
Yeah. I was just going to chat about that. I could tell you why too. It's because it's an irregular verb. That's why. So mi dash, okay, and then this thing, giaya, it happened when it was fall. In the past, it was fall. It was being fall. So one thing you could find out, or if you look on the Ojibwe People's Dictionary, if you look at this word degwagin, you'll have something called a stem, and it'll say something like degwagye. And degwagye means that's the stem word. And usually they're all the same. Degwagin, like gimme one is the stem word is gimme one, like they all match up. But in this case, you have something called irregular verbs. So irregular means they're just a little bit different, you know, they want to kind of act up a little ways, they want their own thing. So degwagye, you have to treat it like it's degwagye. So whenever you add something to it, and you look at your VII chart, and it says, oh, if it ends in an I, and you're changing it to B form, you have to add G. So then you put degwagye, and put a G at the end, degwagye. So that's how that one worked. Other words that might have irregular verbs on them are like zugpun, and its stem word is zugpu, with an O on there. So you have to treat that one like it ends in an O once you add endings to them. So zugpug would be the way they might say it. So that's how that one is done. There's not really too much irregular verbs though. They're all pretty close, pretty similar. The one thing with this one is aya. Aya is also a VII. So in that case, it is happening, or he or she is happening, or he or she is doing it in a certain state. So what it's saying is, and it may dash away, and then this thing, it was being fall or autumn, is what she's saying. So she's saying that's the type of season it was. This is when that happened, when it was autumn. So that thing that she's talking about. So just to go through the first one. Okay, there's this good thing I want to talk about. This was when I was a child. I was raised by my grandma who was in the spirit world. This is what happened when it was autumn, and then we get into the next sentence. Any questions before we get on to the next one? All right. Yeah, there's a lot of little rules going on, but they're all pretty consistent. Okay, so let me play this one. I'll play it again, but listen to how she says it too. Listen to the tone of her voice, because she's telling a story. Okay, so the first one I heard was Giyoshke.
Kiuskizok pok. The go nishkan, dek nishkagi sok fun.
And feel free just to unmute yourselves and help me if you want.
Kiuskizok pok. The go nishkan, dek nishkagi sok fun.
Anishkan.
Like that. Yeah, she say after daga.
Kiuskizok pok. The go nishkan, dek nishkagi sok fun.
Heard in dig. Nashke. Ki.
Kiuskizok pok. The go nishkan, dek nishkagi sok fun.
Oh, okay. So I missed one.
It's on the right, the second zokol.
Oh yeah, I thought I missed it then. Gotcha. All right, so this just double check. All right, Gioshke Zokpo Daga Onashka Indig Nashke Gi Zokpo Zokpon. Okay, so it looks like they're in order. So first thing on here, anybody notice anything added? Anything different from the sentences? The first thing I noticed was this G on there, Zogpun, Zogpug. So the letter G is on there. Onishka. Onishka has the letter N on there. And then J backslash in has a little bit of endings on there that are a bit different. Zugpun turned to Sugpun with an S on there. Let's go through some of these changes and then we'll translate some of them in a second. So the first one, Zugpug. So when you're using B-form sentences, incomplete sentences, so it says in the past, new or young snow, or first time snow. So that's what she's saying. When it first snowed is the first one. That's why she used B-form on there. And it should be zugpung, but because this verb is a regular verb, you use zugpu. So you use, treat it like it ends in an O, and put a G on there, and that's what happened on there. So if you look at your VII chart, treat it like that. Daga is like, come on. And then Onishka means to get up. So she must have been sleeping. But when you put an N on a VTA, it turns it into a command. And that's for one person to do it. So we hear it often with words like wisenin. I had a discussion with some students before, grade 8 students, and they were telling me that, so anybody know how to say eating in Ojibwe? And a few of them put their hands up. Well, how do you say that? Anishinaabemowin. And they would say, wisenin. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But that's not how you say he or she's eating. You say wisenin. And then right away, so well, that's not what my grandma says. My grandma always says wisenin. So I don't know if you're right on that one, Mr. Jones. And then I'm like, well, we're kind of both right. Because as soon as you add an N on there, it's a command, wisenin. So she's telling you to eat, wisenin. So in this case, it's the same thing, onishka, onishkan. So she's telling her, get up. And dig, so there's another irregular verb. I'm telling you guys that irregular verbs don't happen much, but we're using a lot of irregular verbs today. So in dig, what we're trying to do on this one is usually you add an I at the beginning, plus your VTA, and then ing, and that means she does the action to me. And that's what we did in the previous sentence, where she said I was raised by her. So this word is je, backslash in, VTA, say to him, speak so to him or her. With that one, if it has an ending on there, then then you got to use the second one, in. But if it doesn't have an ending on there, then you just use je. So in this case, she's using in. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to replace VTI, in. So it would look like this. Ni nig, ni in ig, nit in ig. And it doesn't really sound right. It sounds kind of broken up. And I see it kind of shortened where it should have been N-I-N-D, nind, nindin, nindinig. So that's how you might say nindinig. But in this case, it's such a short word where it just kind of got shortened where the I-N almost got completely pushed out. And then even the I-N at the beginning got pushed out. So when I'm transitioning from second language to the way fluent speakers speak, one tip that I know is usually if it ends in an I or there's an I in the middle of the word somewhere, it kind of gets pushed out. And that's kind of what happened in here. Almost the whole thing got pushed out. So it sounds like indig. So I'm going to play the audio again and see if you can hear her say indig. Yeah, even in that one, it almost sounds like she says ndig, ndig. So that just comes from fluent speakers when they shorten words up and they just mash them together. So that's how that one works. And this is probably the only one that you'll find that is really shortened up like that. It's just because the word is je /in. It's so small, like in, that it almost completely gets pushed out. Yeah, I also hear this one is like dana, oops. You know, they're telling a story and then they say dana. And what they're trying to say is, I said that to him. So a second language person might write ninde, nind, and then in, and then dana. That's the way a second language person might write it. I said that to him or her, and I at the beginning, a at the end, in dana. But fluent speakers, they tend to shorten things up, and they say dana. You know, that's what I said to him or her. So you might hear that one out there too. Okay, good. Ajahn dana. I already said that. Said that to him. All right. Okay, getting on to these last ones. Nashke, that's when you get someone's attention. Use that pretty often, you know, nashke. You know, okay, check it out. Come look at it. You might hear Wabaguts say that too. The other thing on this one was zugpun. The Z changed to an S. So you look at the word down here. Zugpun changed to sugpun. And from time to time, after you see this word gi, usually the vowel behind or the consonant behind it will change from soft to hard. So gi sokpun, gi sokpun. So that's kind of what happens in dialect. Some dialects don't even do it. Some dialects will say gi zogpun, and they won't even do it. Other ones will always do it. Gi sokpun. So just to look back at our first word, it didn't change up here where it says gi oshke zogpug, and that's because right after gi, the word oshke was there, but because it begins with a vowel, you can't change from soft to hard. So it just kept following the rules and didn't change it, and that's why the zogpun is still zogpun on there. So when I look at this, it says gi oshke zogpug. When in the past it first snowed, daga, please, or come on, Onashkan, get up and dig, she said to me. She said, Nashke, you know, check it out. Gi sokpun, gi sokpun, it snowed. So listen, I'm going to play it one last time, and look how her voice changes on here. You know, I talk about when translating in Ojibwe or when fluent speakers are speaking, it's kind of like there's a little movie going on above their screen, and they're actually seeing what's going on. So when I listen to this, I listen to my grandma telling the story. It's almost like she sees the whole thing going on in her head. She's seeing her grandma wake her up, and she's remembering the whole thing of what happened, and then she's remembering it in detail. And then she's even, her voice even changes to match what she sees as she's speaking Ojibwe language. Check it out. Yeah, so it's kind of like when I listen to that, I kind of get a glimpse back into the past, is thinking like, oh, that's probably how her grandma spoke to her. She said, kind of excited, and then Nashke Giso Pun, and then she kind of levels out a little bit until it snowed. So just a little translation there. When it was the first snowfall, she said to me, come on, get up, look, it snowed. So just to recap, so we don't get lost. First sentence, okay, there's this good thing I want to talk about. When I was a child, I was raised by my grandma. And then she says, and then this one time in the autumn, when it was the first snowfall, she said to me, come on, get up, look, it snowed. Any questions about this one before we go to number 5? All right. This one's a little bit longer. I wanted to challenge people on this one. First 4 were pretty easy, but this one's got a lot of sentences in there. So I'm just going to play it, and feel free to help me along the way too. Meanwhile,
Majano ko chingishan. Awi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwa nakon. Ni biogo tebe bishmita shigezi kisingwa again.
Anybody know the first one?
Majano ko chingishan. Awi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwa nakon. Ni biogo tebe bishmita shigezi kisingwa again.
Majan Agwajing.
All right.
Ishan.
Yeah, I just didn't see Agwajing here. It's probably on the bottom there. Agwajing. Yep. Anybody catch the ones after that? So Majan, Agwajing.
Majano ko chingishan. Awi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwa nakon. Ni biogo tebe bishmita shigezi kisingwa again.
All right, so the one after that was away. Make some room here.
I think after Majan Agwajing.
Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I threw it up here somewhere. Yeah, I just had it. Oh, I threw it too far. That's what it was. All right, Majan Agwajing, Jean away.
Majano ko chingishan. Awi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwa nakon. Ni biogo tebe bishmita shigezi kisingwa again.
All right, so this one's a little tricky. She gets a little tongue-tied in there. I don't know if you guys can catch that. Is Yagwanagin. So I put that one in brackets. And then she says, ah, after that. Yagwanagin boom. And then she kind of corrects herself after that. So
Majano ko chingishan. Awi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwa nakon. Ni biogo tebe bishmita shigezi kisingwa again.
Anybody know the next one?
Gazine Gwe Gun.
Yeah, there you go. Direct. Gazingwe. I think I should say Agun. Agun. That. I can't remember. I'm just going to play it again.
Maja no kachingishan. Hawi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwe nakon. Ni biogote bepeshmita shigeji kisingwa again.
Yep, sounds like it. So let's have the on. And then goon. Anybody know what she says after that?
Maja no kachingishan. Hawi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwe nakon. Ni biogote bepeshmita shigeji kisingwa again.
Oh, it's already there. Nibiwa. She says Nibiwa. Go. Add any emphasis to it.
Maja no kachingishan. Hawi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwe nakon. Ni biogote bepeshmita shigeji kisingwa again.
Anyone catch the one after that? Nibiwa. Go. I thought I heard the Debibij. Yeah. Debibij. So Debibij. One thing to know, if you're, I don't know if you want to call this a cheat, but preverbs, these ones right here and this one, they all have hyphens in there. So when I'm looking at this next sentence, I can kind of see hyphens in there. So I know that, oh, okay, so ones go first, then twos, then threes, and then fours. So I know that those ones are probably preverbs. All right, so let me play this again.
Maja no kachingishan. Hawi kisinga kisia kunagin akon. Kisingwe nakon. Ni biogote bepeshmita shigeji kisingwa again.
All right. Okay, so it looks like we have it in order. And one thing to know is that she gets tongue-tied in here, but then later on she corrects herself. So when I'm looking at this, Maja has the N on there. So just from what we just learned, as soon as you add an N on a VAI, it commands you to do it. One person to do it, so Maja, Majan becomes a command. It means leave or go. And then Akwajing is outside. So leave, go outside. The Jean, go to a certain place. And this is where she gets tongue-tied. She's, and this thing that I want you to do, she says, Gaziagwanagin. So she kind of gets confused on what type of verb she's using. Is she going to say, wash your face with him? Because goon is animate, or wash your face with it. And I think that's where she got confused on this. And Gaziagwa Nagin, she kind of said, oh no, I want to switch a different verb. So she corrects herself, and then she says Gazin Gwain. Gazin Gwain. Gazin Gwain means wash your face. Gaziagwa Nagin, or wherever Gazin Gwain, there it is. So that's one we missed. But that's where it is, Gazingwe. Anytime I hear ingwe in a word, I know that has to do with your face. And gazi means to clean. So it's literally saying clean your face, wash your face. So wash your face with that. snow. Goon. One thing to know, goon, snow is considered animate, what she in her dialect. And ni biwa, lots, much. That's what it says right here. Very much lots. Who's adding emphasis to it? Go. The baby bij means to grab a hold of it, get a hold of it. I think the word we had was midash. I just deleted it by accident there. And then, in a certain way, wash your face with it. So that's kind of what she's saying all together. She says, go outside, Majan and Jean, go and do this thing. It's a little tongue-tied, and then she corrects herself. Gazine Gwain, wash your face with that snow. Much of it, lots of it, grab it, and then, midash, geje in a certain way, gazine gwa geyen, wash your face with an O object. So wash your face with that object. And we know the object is snow. So she's telling her to grab some of that first snowfall and wash your face with it. Like just wash your face real good with it. So that's what she says in that sentence. One thing to know is that the GA, or it's called the initial vowel change. I think we chatted about that before. So anytime you have the first vowel that changes, GA changed to GE, and the person you're talking about is at the end, it becomes a noun-like verb. So it wants to be an action, and then it wants to be an object at the same time. So in this case, wash your face with it a certain way. What it's translating to, it says, this thing, the object, this thing you have to do is you have to wash your face with it. So the action is washing your face with it, but do this thing that is washing your face with it. And that's what it means when you literally translate it. So this last sentence in here, that's what it's literally saying is, and then do this thing, which is washing your face with snow, washing your face with it. So in there you hear the thing, which is a noun, and then washing, which is a verb. So you can kind of see it being a noun and a verb, an action and an object. Do this thing, which is washing your face with it. So that's what I mean by noun-like verb. So it's trying to be a noun, do this thing, but then it's trying to be a verb at the same time. So that's what happens when you change the first vowel, and then the person you're talking about is at the end. It turns into an object, but at the same time it's still a verb. And that's a concept that gets a little confusing sometimes. We don't really use it too much in English, but in Ojibwe it's used pretty often. Any questions about this one? Translation, go outside, go wash your face with the snow, take lots of it, then wash your face thoroughly with it. One other thing I wanted to chat about was this word, debibij, and when we look up here, there is nothing added to it. There's nothing added to it. So a cool trick you can use is when there's nothing added to a VTA, it's a command. So you're commanding someone to do that. So in this case, debibij, it's a command now because there's nothing added to it. It's a VTA, different type of verb. Do something to something alive. So it's a command. So if you look at a list of VTAs, you can have some commands on there, and you just gotta look at them. Bobby means wait for him. So if you have kids and maybe one of them is getting ahead of another one, just say Bobby. Means wait up for him. Any questions on this sentence? A lot going on in this sentence. All right. So just put it in a nutshell. She says, there's this good story I want to talk about. My grandma who raised me. I remember the first time in the autumn when it first snowed. She told me to get up, check it out, it snowed. And then she says to go and I just read your message there. Yeah, to get up and go, and then wash your face thoroughly when the first snowfall comes. Like wash your face with it. So that's what she has so far. This next sentence is a little shorter.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
I'll play it again, and if anyone could help me put them in order.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
All right, I think the first one I heard was meat. Something a little tricky here. There's iwe and owe. I don't know what she says on here.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
Sound like meat iwe.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
Kitochi man.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon. Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
All right, I heard can I show this on there? Anybody know the last few? All right, so what did I have here? Okay. Play it again.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
All right, looks right to me. Let's double check.
Mi iwe kituchi ma awe ke mishomis kiki singo again akon.
Ah, okay. Got it. Just missed that. Ah. There it is. It's just toward the end here. All right, again, looking at this, I know that this word right here, Ojibwe, has stuff added to it. It has G-I-D-O and then A-A at the end. G has one on there. Zingwa game. That's pretty much the only ones on there. So I'm going to take apart that one. So Ojibwe means to like when you're kissing somebody, and then G-I added, and then A-A at the end. Means you do the action to him or her. So then what she says is me. It is that, this, like you're mentally doing it. You are kissing him. And who is him? This, your grandfather. So it's like you're mentally kissing your grandfather. And when she means your grandfather, she's talking about the snow. She's not talking about your grandfather, but grandfather snow. So there's kind of a kinship there. You look at the snow as your grandfather. Anishinaabe view of it. Next one is giga. You are doing the action. You will. Ga means in the future will. So ga, future tense. And then gazingwa gain, wash your face plus an object. So these ones always have an object in there. In this case, the object is the snow. With that snow. So that's what she's saying is it's like you're kissing your grandfather, snow. Yeah, I'm just looking at your message, Krista. What's the difference between and oe? So there's a lot of different versions of them. There's the one in the previous one we had was oe, and we had iwe, and then this one we have oe. So here, this one, Iwe, Awe, and I think the other one we had Owe. So those mean that. So there's different versions of that. Is there that thing that's animate or that that's inanimate? And in this case, she's taking it a little bit step further. She's saying Iwe, and Iwe means this, and if you look at the back, inanimate for one object. So imagine she's saying, look at this one thing mentally. So when you use Iwe, it's kind of like mentally, like think about it. This thing that's in your mind, not this physical object, but this thing that's in your mind. So the thing that's in your mind is, she's saying, visualize you kissing your grandma or your grandpa, the snow. So Awe changes to animate. So this thing physically, and in the back it says animate, and it's only singular for one. So one grandfather. So mentally picture you're kissing your grandfather, the snow, and then Giga, you will wash your face with that snow. So that's what she's saying. And there's other versions. There's like, let's say this one is that singular. Ah, that's a shortened version. Au is another shortened version. So that's that, which is kind of closer to you. And then au is the next one. It means that, but not really closer to you. So imagine there's three people. And there's three different ways you can say that. So the person closest to you, that person closest to you, that person second closest to you, and then that person that's furthest to you. So you got about three of them there. So when I hear I mean that person's closest, or au. The second one is au, which means that person is kind of not really physically close to you, but you know, maybe there's three people in the room, the second person. And then wa'au is that person who's furthest away. So it gets a little confusing in some of those cases, but almost constantly, like I always see au or au. So just those two is the ones I hear more commonly. I think as you go further, like to Minnesota, you start using words like uh-oh and wah-oh, just to be more specific. If you're in a crowded room, you know, you want to say that person. So it gets a little confusing, and might be good just to practice on that once in a while, but it doesn't really come up like all that often. You know, like it's just something good to know in case you hear it somewhere else. So this translation is probably the last one for the day. So then it's like you're kissing him, your grandfather, when you wash your face with it. So you're kind of, you know, when you're physically grabbing the snow and you're washing your face with it, it's kind of like you're kissing your grandfather, the snow, and you're welcoming him back for the year, and you're just acknowledging him. So that's what's happening, and this is really important because I think there's this was just slide 6, and there's 20 of them, and maybe we could finish this off in our next session. I'll just put a note here. This is where we finished off. Maybe, go back up there. I just got some more information just to show you guys about this. Let's put it here, June 10. To show where we have. And then she wanted this this to be very important because one time when she was working at Mind Center School, she worked there for a number of years. That was her career, and she would go right up to the trap line right after school. And she went up to her trap line down Manion Lake Road, and then she was by herself, and she was like probably in her late 50s, and she was going across the snow, and she did this. She grabbed the snow and she did this, and it was Christmas break. So she wanted to go up there by herself and just go check some traps and catch some animals. So she went up there in her four-wheeler, and she was crossing this river. And when she crossed the river, she fell in. The ice broke, and she fell in. And then she was in the water, and she was on the water's edge. And then the four-wheeler was kind of floating in the water. The tires were up, she was saying. And every time she tried to grab onto the ice, she slid back in. And then she started thinking, oh no, and she started yelling for help, but there was nobody else there. She was the only person there, and she started kind of getting scared because she knew that every time she slid up, she'd fall back into the water, so there's no way that she could get out. So she was thinking that that's probably the end, you know, this is probably the end for her. And then she said out loud, she asked for some help. And then she said the next thing she remembers was she was just sliding on the ice. And then she kind of looked around, and she was out. She was out of the water. And then she kind of crawled towards shore. And finally, when she got off the ice, she stood up. And she went walking back to where her truck was, and saved her life. And then she started, after a few years, she tried to remember exactly what happened. Like, how did I get out of the ice? I don't remember. I remember trying to slide out, but all I remember was just sliding. And then she remembers what her grandma told her, this story. It says that every time you acknowledge the first snowfall and you wash your face with it, the snow keeper, or the winter maker spirit will look kindly on you. It'll help you out during the winter. So she thinks that she credits all of her teachings that her grandma gave her, especially on the snow, that's probably what saved her life that day, was the snow liked to be acknowledged. And that's a really powerful thing, is when you acknowledge spirits, they really like that. So she acknowledged the winter spirit, and she credits all of that, this specific teaching, to probably saving her life that day. The winter spirit would probably pulled her out of there, and that's what saved her life. So cool things like that happen, you know. And this is the connection to our culture, and this is one teacher that's sharing a lot of information with us. And you know, because of residential schools, we lost a lot of teachings, and we're trying to gain them back. So I've been kind of focusing on using curriculum like this to not only use language and listen to how fluent speakers speak, but also at the end, maybe you get a teaching towards the end of it. So that's what this one was about. And I guess we can finish this off in our next session. Any questions? All right. So if there's anything else that people have, you know, if there's something that you want to see, or if something that we should focus on, let us know in the feedback form. With my sessions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this one off. I think we went as far as 7. So hopefully I can get a couple more sessions with you guys. This one is 20 slides long, so we got through 7. So probably about two more sessions, and we'll finish this one off. If you guys want a copy of this, you know, this would be good. Yeah, I'll finish off this story. There's some little teachings in there too that you can pull apart. It gives a cool view on how Anishinaabe view the world too. So a lot of cool stuff happening with this one specifically. Yeah. The reason I like it too is because you hear an elder speaking, and you can kind of see some of the changes that they use. Like when she said "ahau" at the beginning, you know, a second language learner might say "ahau" with 2 A's at the end, and then it helps you to transition from second language to how a fluent speaker says it. So just some cool changes in there.
You got Jason.
Yeah.